All right, welcome to Real Estate Matters. And today we are talking about flipping. The next couple Real Estate Matters episodes are going to have concern flipping and the biggest mistake a new flipper can make. Now, here's the deal. When we were flipping homes 5 years ago, it was almost a sure thing that if you just bought it and painted it, you could put it back on the market and make money. Those days are gone. So in this situation, we're looking at what does flipping look like in 2026. So if you're into flipping, what the deal is that you have to think about, the tighter math that's going to go around it, because when you buy the house, if you're buying it on credit, you're getting it at 7 or even 8% interest, because most likely this is a loan that's for a second home if you're doing it individually, or a business if you're doing it that way. Either way, your rate is going to be higher than if it's a 30-year first-time mortgage. And so what you have to think about is how long is it going to take you to get everything done? What are your contractors, schedules look like? And what is your timeline going to be? Those are the main things that are going to be really important for you. Now, I want to caution you, and when you look at these programs like HGTV, where they do these segments in a half hour and they show you how they took a house that's a 3-2 and they've taken it from a complete gut job to a brand new, beautiful home where they've made $100,000 on it. That timeline is wildly optimistic. I mean, you're never going to hit that timeline, especially if you're doing this for the first time. The thing about the HGTV people is that what they're not showing you is how much it actually costs. Number one, those costs include the taxes, the insurance, the holding the property, the inspections that all have to get done over and over and over again until the permits are issued. And then there's permitting delays. And so there's a lot of things that you have to be really realistic about. I would just tell you this: if you're thinking about doing a flip, add at least 2 months to it and think more like 6 months, 6 to 8 months. That's assuming that you get under contract and you have all your people lined up before you sign the paperwork. Now, we talked about what are the biggest mistakes. Like, what are the biggest mistakes? It's kind of a negative way to say it, but here's what happens. You find a property, you like it, your wife likes it, and it becomes emotional. That's a big mistake. Don't do that. Because in 2021, appreciation can cover a mistake. In 2026, you don't have appreciation. You are only going to have value. You might be looking at fixing it, holding it for another day, meaning you're going to rent it. And that is going to change the dynamic about how you'd go about this. So, all right. So here's what we're thinking about. You're underestimating your rehab costs. And this is something that a lot of people will do. They'll go in and say, okay, I got to replace the electrical, plumbing, and roof. And I'm pretty sure that the sewer line needs to be replaced too. And I think all that's going to cost me about $25,000. Well, but you haven't thought about, okay, is there going to be mold mitigation? Is there going to be permits that you're going to have to get? Is the crawl space accessible? Are you going to have to drill a hole? You're going to have to make a access point for people to get in to do that work. And is the plumbing going to have to be a full replacement or partial? If it's full, you might be tearing down walls. So my point is that you need to understand that whatever you're doing in that house, before you sign and during your inspection period, you want to bring in the electrical contractor. You want to bring in the plumbing contractor, because those guys are going to give you the realistic term. And if you work with a general contractor, it's probably not good enough. When you're looking at your building to flip, when you're looking at the one, we'll just call it the 2-bedroom, 1-bath bungalow, you need to bring those people in. You need to bring the roofing contractor, the electrician, the plumber, the people that are going to do the sewer scope. You want all those people to be there during that 10-day inspection window. And during your negotiation period, when you're getting ready to buy the house, you go under contract, you want to make sure that these people have seen it before you go under contract, because you don't want to waste people's time. And you can certainly, your realtor, and you can go look at the house, and then you can ask the realtor, hey, I want to come back to the house, but I want to come back with my plumber, my electrician. That's free. You don't have to, that you can make good decisions just by doing that. That's the part that is the easy part. Finding out whether you can buy the house or not, whether you physically can take care of this house with the money that you have. We're gonna do a scenario so that we wanna, because I wanna run this out in numbers for you as well. Okay, so here's what's gonna happen. You've got the purchase prices, let's say 475. And that's good. That's a very low price. The guy wanted 575, but he's giving it to you at 475 because he can't get anybody to take the piece of crap at 575. So he gives you $100,000 less. So that's great. You got $100,000 to work with to come back to market value. If you get it fixed up for less than 100, then you're going to make some money. All right. You have your rehab budget. You figure, okay, this is going to cost me $50,000 to do the rehab on this particular property. And that's going to include doing some new flooring, painting, putting in new cabinets, new countertops. I'm going to do some landscaping, and I'm going to remodel the bathroom. So I'm going to say that that's going to cost me 50 grand. But if you haven't done your homework during your demolition, you find water damage behind, let's just say, behind the walls in the shower and under the toilet. And you've got a super old electric panel that is damaged, and you've got some sewer line issues, and you got some subfloor rot in the kitchen where the sink is. Well, now you need some permits because you're going to have to take these things out, and the plumbing permits, while they're not expensive, they're going to potentially delay your timeline. So your original 50,000 might start to look more like 80,000. Now you've got an extra cost. And the reason that is because you didn't anticipate pulling the shower out and drying out everything behind it and cutting the walls out and putting in new wood, new 2x4s and new drywall or hardy back. All of a sudden, you've got an extra $10,000 into the kitchen. Well, that's doable because now you're at 80,000. You still have 20,000 left if you can get it back on the market within a reasonable amount of time and sell it for 575 or even 600 because the house was worth that much if it was in great condition. But here's the next part of this problem. You have holding costs. While the property is sitting around, your mortgage payment is probably around $4,000 to $6,000 a month. Your property taxes are probably around $500 to $800 a month. And your insurance on a vacant home is going to be not cheap, but not expensive, but it's going to be there, maybe $200 a month. Then you're going to have your utilities. You still need power. You still need water. You still need gas. I don't know if you'll need the internet, but you still need those things at least. And those costs are going to add up. All right. So you start out with 475. You rehab it for 80. You find out that you have a bunch of other costs. You've got to add in another, say, 15 for all the extra month that you had in delays. Now you're not sure you're even going to make a profit on this thing. If you sell it at 575, you've only made 5 grand. If you can get 600, maybe you've made 20 out of it. So was it really worth it? I mean, that's what you got to ask yourself. So your actual costs were, you had the 475 and then you had 100 in rehab and holding costs. And you got to pay your realtor at the end. And actually, I'll tell you this right now. This is why I became a realtor. I was flipping houses in the 2020s through 2023 and I was tired of paying the real estate agent money to do a transaction that I already knew everything about. Like I was buying the house, I had an agent, and then they would take $20,000, and then when I'd sell the house, they'd take another $20,000. So the agent on both ends was getting, $50,000 out of the sale of the house. Well, if I broker my own deal, I can have that cost. I only have to pay the buyer's agent to come in and do the work that they're going to do on their side. That is hugely awesome. So if you are thinking about being a flipper, that's one thing you can do is get your real estate license. It's not that hard to do. There's online classes through Online Ed. That's a national program. So wherever you're listening to this podcast, you can get your real estate license in a fairly reasonable amount of time for a fairly cheap price. Now, the deal is that you have to activate your license, which means you have to be with a brokerage. That's going to cost you some money. But if you sell your flips and maybe you have a couple friends that want to buy and sell through you, then you make the money. I mean, every year I've managed to at least cover my costs with my real estate license. So there you go. And I get to do this show with a little bit of authority, right? Maybe not. It is not unreasonable, and it is not something that people like to talk about, but it would not be unreasonable for you to actually take a loss on your flip, especially the way the market is now. If you're making flipping a business, you have to think about how the income streams are going to work, first of all. Are you flipping to rent? Are you flipping to sell? Are you flipping for a quick flip? Or are you thinking about making a really great investment for a long-term investment for you? Then all those things are considerations for the flip. If you are flipping to turn it into an Airbnb, it's an investment. If you're flipping it to flip it for quick sale, it's a flip and you're taking a risk, because in construction and remodeling costs are so high right now in 2026 that it's very hard to get the margins that you want to get out of it. And I think the other thing that we have to say is that even if you do a perfect flip, I guarantee you that the home inspection from the buyer who's potentially going to buy it once you're done with the flip is going to find things that you're going to have to negotiate down on. That's an issue. That's an irritating problem, but that happens. So I'll leave you with this final thought on flipping versus buying from a home builder. When you flip a home, when you buy it and it's trash and you flip it, you might make some money. When you buy it and you flip it and you hold it, then you might make some money if you're renting it long-term or short-term or Airbnb. And I say might because there's situations where you might not. And finally, if you go with a builder in 2026 for your home, you get a house and these guys have so much money and they have so much access to capital that they can buy down your rate. So they can give you a loan within their own company for a 3 and 4% loan. And that allows you to buy a bigger, better house that's brand new. So those are your options. And, but if you're flipping an old home, you have some serious thinking to do in 2026, thinking you wouldn't have had to do in 2021. All right. Thank you for listening to Real Estate Matters on BBN 31. You can find this show anywhere you find a podcast or on bbn31.com or our app, BBN31. All right. Have a great day, everybody.